So, dear students, today in this class, we will be learning the introduction of research, a little bit about quantitative. Mostly, this is for qualitative paper. So, mostly we'll be learning about qualitative thing, but I'll give little bit information about quantitative as well because research it consists of both quantitative as well as qualitative. So if I have to explain, or if I have to tell you about the definition, the basic definition, what is research? It's like a detailed and careful study of something to find out more information about it. For example, like you do research, like for example, if you're buying one smartphone or you are traveling somewhere, before going to one particular place, new place, you do research or buying a smartphone. Also, suppose you need to buy a smartphone, you just do not randomly go to a store and you don't buy before buying one smartphone. You do research, you want to know what are the new models available, which brand is good in this current scenario, in this right now, this time. So you want to know about, like, you want to know about the in your budget, which phone is good or which phone's camera is good or the sound quality and other variables like which is good. So you do small research, you want to know what is going on. So that is the basic definition. Research you want to do, like you want to know more about that thing. So one definition, if I have to talk about research, is like a systematic investigation that is aimed to discover and interpret facts, revising accepted theories or applying new knowledge. It is basically a process that seeks to understand and explain the world through observation, analysis, and experiments. So there are some like purpose of conducting research or doing research. Now, first one is like knowledge generation. So like why we do research? The first purpose is like we want to know, like, research helps in generating new insight and knowledge. And when you have to solve some problems, like identify some problem, and we want to solve the problem, that time also we do research. And sometimes if we have developed some theories, that time also we conduct research and decision making. Sometimes we need to make some decision, suppose for example decision related to like science, healthcare, education, and business. That time if you need to make decision, then also we do research. These are some of the purpose of conducting research. And then moving forward. Okay. So like there are different types of research. Okay. There are different types of research. Suppose like there are basic research, which is also called fundamental research, and then applied research, and then descriptive research. There are others also like exploratory research, and then explanatory research, evaluation research. Now I'll come back, like I will just explain a little bit about all the types of research. Suppose when fundamental, applied, and all these things. Suppose fundamental research, it's usually like the objective is to uh to advance theoretical knowledge without immediate practical application. So suppose if I have to give example about fundamental, basic research is like when we have to investigate new how memory process work in human brain. We are conducting one research, we want to know about the human brain, how it works, then we apply the fundamental or basic research. And if we have to talk about applied research, suppose if we want to apply something, then we do applied research, like to when we have to solve some problem. Suppose, for example, if we have to say, for example, discovering a new software tool for managing mental health record or something, like there is some disease and we need to generate new medicine or medication or antidote, and we are conducting research on for that particular like what particular disease related to that disease, then we are that kind of research we will say as applied research. And when we talk about this descriptive research, suppose we have to describe about some particular phenomena. Suppose we can say tsunami or some other particular phenomena, like natural disaster, and we have to describe about, like we have to do research, we are conducting research on that particular related to that particular area or particular event, then we will be conducting descriptive research. Suppose like if I have to give example, like conducting a demographic survey to understand the age distribution of a population, then that is descriptive research. And then suppose one another type is exploratory research. If we want to explore about some situation and some problem, then we will be using this exploratory research. And if we again same, if I have to give example of exploratory research, like investigation, the reason behind low voters turned out in a specific community. Suppose recently we had some elections. I think if I'm not wrong, Maharashtra. Yeah, I think Maharashtra. We had recently election, and if you want to know about the like which party win and which party lose, and if we have to explore, if you want to know what are the major reasons, like suppose for example, A party win and party B they lose. If you want to know about the reasons, then we will be conducting. Suppose we are conducting some particular research, then that research will be like exploratory research. We just want to explore what is the reason behind it. We just want to explore that one. And the second one, and sorry, the next one is like explanatory research. So if you want to explain something, if you want to explain about some particular phenomena, what is the reason? Like if you want to explain from our side, then we'll be using explanatory research. For example, like studying how stress affects academic performance among students. Suppose, for example, during your exam time, you have lots of stress. So if you want to explain about this thing, what are the factors that is like affecting or triggering your stress, then you will be applying explanatory research. Again, evaluation research to assess the effectiveness or impact of progress, policies, and products. Suppose, for example, like evaluating the success of public health campaign to reduce smoking. That is a very good example for evaluation research. Now, moving forward, okay, I'll just talk little because this is a qualitative research. So we don't need to actually learn about quantitative, but without learning one particular research method, if we will go to learn about the other method, yeah, I think it will be a little bit difficult. So we'll just talk just like 1 minute. I'll talk about what is quantitative, and then we'll be moving forward with qualitative again. So quantitative is like mostly we deal with numbers. So what we do in qualitative, we deal with not qualitative, we do not deal with numbers, but quantitative, we deal with numbers only. Qualitative, we deal with images, words, documents, but quantitative, we don't do, we use numerical data. So there are some characteristics when we will be learning about quantitative research. That time we will be explaining about all these things. Now again, we will be moving forward to qualitative with the qualitative research only. These are some of the advantages. Again, like I said, when you will be learning about quantitative, that time I'll be explaining about this advantage and disadvantage of quantitative research. Now, coming back to qualitative, what is qualitative? Like as I just mentioned, qualitative is like we deal with quality. Like we use words, we use stories, we use images, documents. So we use quality. We don't use numbers. So if I have to talk about characteristics of qualitative research, it's like qualitative research is we have flexible design. Like research design can be evolved during the study. This allows researchers to adapt their approach as new insight emerge. Suppose rich data, we will be directly going, and suppose when we are collecting data, we will be directly going and meeting the participants. We will be collecting the data, so we can collect ample amount of data from the participant directly. It is subjective as well because we will be meeting the participants and we will be collecting the data, and it is very much dependent on the uh, with the participant as well as with the researcher also. So interpreting the data is also very much dependent on the subjective, like on the researcher, and subjective data of the subjective view of the researcher. There are also some advantages and disadvantages also of qualitative studies. Like these are the advantages. Suppose if I have to talk about the advantages, it's like depth of understanding, contextual insight, flexibility. Suppose if we have to change the data suddenly, it's much easier in qualitative because it's very much dependent on the researcher. So if they have to change something, it is flexible compared to quantitative. It's much flexible, and if you have to generate new theories also, we use qualitative data. And person, and that last point again, the personal engagement, because that the researcher, he or she will go and meet the participants, and he will collect the data directly. That there's a interaction with the participants, direct interaction with the participants. But when we collect data with quantitative, so we use questionnaires, or these days we use Google Forms also. So there is no such connection with the researcher and the participant. We just get the data. But with qualitative, we mostly use, there are different methods of data collection. I will be explaining slowly, but I'll just say about, for example, we use interview method. So when we take interview, we directly go and we talk with the participants. So that is a one advantage, that we have personal interaction with the participants. There's a direct connection, direct interaction between participant and researcher. But when you talk about disadvantage of qualitative research, it's like it's more time consuming. Like, because we have to do suppose we are doing interview as a method, we will be going and meeting the participants one by one. So it takes lots of time. Apart from that, not only time consuming, it takes lots of money also, because we have to travel, we have to meet the participants, we have to give them time, as well as we sometimes we have to travel far also. So one disadvantage is like time consuming, as well as we have to spend lots of money also. Small size data, like we cannot collect more data, like ample amount. Suppose we have to collect data with 1,000, 2,000. It's very difficult to collect data from 1,000, 2,000 samples. But in quantitative, it's easier. We can just distribute a questionnaire and we can get the data. And these days with Google Form, it's much easier. You can just distribute in with online mode of, so suppose social media or something, and we can collect the data. But with qualitative, it's not possible. It's very difficult to collect the data. So some sample size is always very less. And as we said, we have the advantage, like it's very subjective. But again, at the same time, it can be disadvantage also, because researcher can be biased and he can manipulate the data. So that this is one disadvantage as well. Then replicability, it is very difficult to replicate the data. And suppose it's flexible, due to its flexibility, context specific nature, replicating quality data can be very challenging, which may affect the reliability of the results.